What's up everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I kind of just wanted to talk over some gameplay about my first impressions with Overwatch so far. You know, I've only been able to play this game for around 3 to 4 days because I haven't actually been able to play this game before, as I wasn't able to go to conventions like PAX East or Gamescom. So this truly is my first impressions after playing the game for a few days. With all the news and theory crafting videos I've been making up until this point, I had a certain mentality about how I thought the game was actually going to play out, and it turns out I was really wrong. When people would come up to me and talk about Overwatch, and I was trying to kind of explain what Overwatch really was, I would always go to TF2. You know, that seems to be what most people like comparing it to, and so I was like, well, TF2 is a class-based shooter, and Overwatch is a class-based shooter, so Overwatch is TF2 if the classes had abilities. And that's pretty much what I loosely went with until I got to actually play the game. It really feels like there's nothing you can compare Overwatch to. It's just so unique and so different from every game I've ever played. And there's a ton of Reddit threads where people are like, what games can I play to prepare myself for Overwatch, or what is the game closest to Overwatch since I can't play it yet and I want to prepare myself. And my answer is, there really isn't a game very similar to Overwatch. The best way I can explain how Overwatch feels is, don't get me wrong, I hate it when people compare the game to a MOBA because it isn't a MOBA, but if you have ever played a MOBA, you'll know how intense some of the team fights get when everyone is using their abilities and you're talking to your teammates like, okay, I'll stun and you ult and then we can escape. It's kind of like those moments if they were in a first-person perspective. That intensity, but throughout the entire game, and adding in how fun it is to actually be able to shoot freely rather than just right-clicking a single enemy. So, like I said, this game is really unique. It's not like CSGO or COD or Halo where a single player can just walk in a room and get 6 headshots and instantly wipe the enemy team. Overwatch feels like team play is such a huge factor in actually succeeding. Just playing someone like Soldier 76 or Tracer and only worrying about your kill-death ratio is going to be a lot less effective than actually communicating and working with your team towards completing your objectives. Another thing people tend to bring up is how some heroes are OP, like why are tanks like Roadhog allowed to have 600 health and insta-kill, or why is Widowmaker so powerful, shouldn't we nerf her? In my opinion, every hero is pretty balanced, and you know there's some cases where you're like, oh wow, that was a little powerful, but nothing so drastic where we're already needing to worry about buffing and nerfing heroes. And another point people like to bring up are things like, why would you ever pick Torbjorn? Bastion is better in every way. In my opinion, I feel like every single hero is useful in their own little way. In a match, it might not be better to pick Bastion. It might not be good to pick Torbjorn. It might even be better to pick Winston. And in that case, Winston was a better pick, but does that make him a better hero as a whole? No, not at all. It seems like everyone has a situation where they excel, and you have to know what those situations are. You have to make the decisions to be like, okay, we need a little bit more splash damage. Maybe I should pick a Fair or a Junkrat. And I feel like that adds a ton of depth to the game. As an example, say you're on a map and you know you either want a Torbjorn or a Bastion. If you're at a tight choke point, it might be a better idea to pick a Bastion, or if you're in an open area, it might be better to pick Torbjorn. It just feels like everyone is good at something, and knowing where everyone fits into the puzzle is really important. Another thing people love talking about is how good are the graphics. If you know anything about Overwatch, you know it's not a hyper-realistic looking game. It has a very unique art style that contributes really well to the entire atmosphere of the game. Someone earlier made a Reddit thread showcasing a bunch of screenshots comparing how the game looks on a low quality to how it looks on a high quality. And what we learned is the difference between low and high quality aren't actually that drastic. That's not saying running it on Ultra doesn't make it look good, it's saying running it on low doesn't make it look bad. Running the game on a low quality also takes out some bushes and details here and there, making the game look a little less clustered. The attention to detail is also stunning. You can really tell how much time Blizzard spent putting life into their game. Another thing people might ask is how good is the music or the sound effects in the game? The main menu music everyone knows and loves, and the little snippets of music you get when entering a new map sound amazing, and they really help you get immersed into the world you're playing in. When shooting a gun or an arrow, you aren't going to be thinking to yourself, did I fire a bullet or did I fire a Nerf gun? And if you're not thinking about the sound effects, then they're doing a good job. After playing the beta for only around 3 to 4 days, I only really had a few problems with the game. First of all, there were a few bugs we've known about, but most of them have already been fixed, so that's not too much of a problem. But Also, the UI for inviting friends and joining people in games can kind of be a little confusing, as sometimes it doesn't really tell you if there's open slots in their game, or if they're in a private game, and stuff like that. I may just be stupid, but that's what it seems like to me. Other than that though, the game feels amazing. We're only 4 days into the beta and a huge amount of things are going to be changed, but this is just how I feel about it so far. Now, if you have any different opinions about the game, either from playing it or watching it, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Hey, thanks for watching this. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more Overwatch content and news. See you guys next time.